Thank you. Thank you to the Plymouth County Democratic League. Thank you, Bob, and thanks to all the other candidates that were here. I appreciate, or are here, appreciate the opportunity to speak on behalf of the Field Services Committee of the Democratic State Committee. I want to thank a couple of the members of the Field Services Committee that are here. My predecessor as chair is Fred Cohen, and one of when Phil Johnston asked me to co-chair Field Services a number of years ago, one of my first calls was to my good friend John Walsh to ask him to be on the committee, and I hope he'll get active now that he's got that other thing that was taking a little of his time away. So look forward to having him back active on the committee. I want to talk about a couple of really boring, some of the technical stuff that it is important for chairs to know. I'm going to go over a couple of things about the caucuses. There are a few changes coming up this year. Three major changes. The first one is that there is no 15-minute grace period. If your caucus is scheduled for 2 p.m., you can't register people to run for delegate or to vote who arrive after 2 p.m. So make sure that your members and people who are interested in being candidates are aware of that. The second thing that's different from other issues conventions recently is that people running for delegate must be present to run. Again, that's a change. You know, if people don't like the changes, talk to your state committee members. You've got a lot of state committee members here, and they need to hear from you if there are issues that are of concern. And another change that's I've got a lot of positive feedback about is that instead of the chair at the time of the convention, it will be the chair at the time of the caucus who's a delegate. So that way, if somebody's chairing a caucus, they don't have to also worry about running for delegate. So that's something that people have been very, very pleased about. After the caucuses, the next thing that will be happening is in the month of March, we're going to have what we call the March for Democratic Agenda. I asked somebody if they had any more information on it. She says, well, I walk with a cane and I'm not sure I can take part in the March for Democratic Action. But it will be a series of at least 10 what we're calling forums. They will replace the usual hearings that we have during March. There will be at least one in each congressional district. So we'll be looking, and I'd ask all of you, especially the chairs and the people who were leaders within the Deval Patrick and Tim Murray campaign, to be thinking about what worked in your area. Why did we have the great successes we had across the state, and what did you do that worked? So we're looking to share, you know, best practices, looking to share ideas. And the way we'll be doing that is through the March for Democratic Action and through those events across the state. I ask all of you as chairs to really use this, this Action Agenda Convention as a way of building the party. Reach out to the people who got involved, who hadn't been involved in the past. Ask them to come to your caucuses. Ask them to run for delegate. Invite them to the convention. If you've got lots of people who are interested in going out to Amherst, ask them to come as visitors or volunteers. But it should be a really good convention and should be a lot of fun. Just a couple of comments about the convention that, again, it's going to be a little different. The purpose of this convention is to pass a grassroots organizing agenda and party building. So that will be the focus, is grassroots organizing and party building. And that really starts with all of you, the chairs and activists out in the hinterlands. And as was alluded to earlier, you've got more of a challenge than in some parts of the state. So that's really, it's a good thing. It's, if you're just complacent because everybody votes Democratic, it's no fun. It's only challenging to do something like John did and take an unknown candidate and get them elected through grassroots activism. The convention will be different from other years in that it will be a one-day convention. Usually there's a few activities, well, let's call them parties the night before. And this year, it will be strictly a one-day convention. The typical host committee party will be held after the sessions adjourn on Saturday. The party wants to make this easy for people to attend. We'll be starting possibly a little later than usual. I think they're expecting 10 o'clock to give people a chance to drive out from places like Plymouth County without having to spend the night in Amherst the night before. So the party's working to be as accessible and convenient to people to take part so that we can encourage not just the junkies who love to go out the night before and party, but to encourage people who, unlike myself, have lives outside of the Democratic Party. So that's primarily what's going on at the convention. It will have breakout sessions. It's not, at this point, although the plans aren't final, at this point it's not going to be like the other convention that people might remember out in Amherst with a lot of different tracks. This will be, there'll be breakout sessions, but each session will be presented with the same information, and it will be about grassroots party building. We'll be taking the information that we obtained through the forums during March, and we'll be analyzing the data, looking at areas where we need work and looking at areas where we did well, and seeing what we need to do to make the party successful across the state. So that should be interesting, and I urge all of you to plan on attending. Bob asked